And I think I'm live. What up, everybody? Welcome to Self-Care Sunday, number 23. Wow. Can you believe we've done 23 of these freaking streams? It's amazing to just see the community and to the production quality. Man, just like the whole thing has been a wild ride. And I'm excited to see where it goes. So, welcome. I'm going to just check the chat, make sure that this is working, that you can see me, that you can hear me. If there are any tech problems or lags or slags, you let me know in the chat. All right, let's get started. Oh my God. So much love straight away. Nears H, Eula Chavez, Niam M, Lucy C, Emmanuel Faltamo, welcome. So great to see you guys here. Holly W. Oh man, so many familiar faces. Nizzy Holloway, Alicia Workman, Bridget, Jean. So great to have you guys here. Oh, what a week, what a day, what a life. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, Alicia. It has been a roller coaster. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'd love to share that's a little bit premature. I'm back to that life. Hopefully I will have some exciting news next weekend. The long and skinny of the thing has sort of been asking myself the question of what is my life for, and how can I make a living fulfilling on whatever the hell that is? And my patrons have been a huge, huge support for that. The patrons of Wolf 359 have been a huge, huge support for that. And there is another dimension that I've been curious about exploring. And that's all I'll say right now. But yeah, welcome. Today, the guest that I had lined up was busy in the end, and I did not schedule a new guest. It has been, as I said, a roller coaster week, and it's also sort of a weird time of year in at least the New York City area in terms of people being on vacation and being busy and stuff. So yeah, and on that note, because of Dragon Con and other events in the next 2 weeks, I'm either going to be off the air or streaming later than usual. And I would say plan on one... I really don't want to miss a week, so I'm probably just going to stream later, maybe shorter, but yeah, I just like the streak. Yes. I see somebody asking about Under Pressure, the podcast. That is indeed an audio drama podcast. It is one that I play a character in, a character called Jack of all trades Vernon, and I speak in an Australian accent. Alexi Winter, you caught me. Man, yeah, I'm being mysterious. Basically, I just don't want to jinx anything, and I'm just taking a new approach based on some friends' advice around trying to make that passion paycheck. And we'll know very soon if it works, and if so, how it works. And you'll be the first to find out right here on Self-Care Sunday. Well, probably just my YouTube channel, because I probably won't be able to wait until Sunday, maybe, to make that I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so great to be here with you guys. Nizzy Holloway, thank you for that shout out about Under Pressure, the new podcast that I'm in. Not so new, but anyway, loving it. It's fun to do that. That accent and to play with those folks. It's a good crew making that thing work. So yes, what do we want to do? Well, so I had a couple thoughts about what today could be. The episode is called Stuff People Love. Because as I've been thinking about sort of like what I want to do with myself and my time and my life and sort of how to make it all into a math equation that squares, I've been thinking about, starting more of a serious business around Project Uplift, maybe leaning further into podcasting, right? There's like so many possibilities, and I'm blessed and privileged and like just so grateful to have the opportunities that I have. And so one of those sort of avenues is starting a startup, and there's this video series that I discovered working at my last full-time job, working as the director of video production at a company called 1 Month, which is a Y Combinator-backed startup. Y Combinator is like a startup school. So technically it's an accelerator, but they have a lot of programs. And some of those organizers did a thing with Stanford and created this like course. And there's a video in there that I go back to a lot. There are two, actually. One of them more than others. And I was thinking we could like watch before the startup, which is like basically the guy who created Y Combinator talking about why you shouldn't start a company while you're in college, which I was like, that's pretty cool. That's not the advice that I've been told my whole life. I've been basically feeling like I am too late to the game. I'm too far behind because I didn't start something in college that I'm still doing. And his advice is like really healthy and wholesome, and he's hilarious in sort of a nerdy, stop-starty way. Yes, so I'm thinking about watching that with you guys and sort of pausing it and answering questions and riffing, and so that's like one thing we could do today. And there's going to be a vote, so that's like thing one. It's watching that video and sort of like going through it together. Thing two, these are not mutually exclusive, but I'm going to keep it to like an hour or so. So whatever we get in this time, it's our play date. So yeah, thing two, we can do call-ins, and we could do just call-ins if y'all want, and like I could like give you guys some perspective if you're working on a podcast or a YouTube series or just like wanting to get more headspace in your life. You name it, we can chat about it. So yeah, that's thing two. That's thing two. And then thing three is if you guys have an idea in the chat, we could just do that. Unfortunately, there's some constraints. I've been getting a lot of requests to play Dream Daddy, I think it's called. Dreamy Dads. And I'm interested. I need to figure out the technical things. I'm not a gamer, so it would be new territory for me, and I'm not technically prepared for that right here, right now. But like, if that's the overwhelming thing that you guys want me to do, then like I'll get my laptop and like it'll be a really boring stream probably while I like fiddle with that and get my controller working. Yes. Oh, okay. So yeah. So thing one, to review. I realize there's another thing. Thing one is oh boy, did I forget thing one already? Oh boy, this is embarrassing. It's live. It's live. Don't fuck up. Wait for it. Yeah, so thing one is watching a video together. Thing two is call-ins, not mutually exclusive. Thing three is what you suggest, and what you've been suggesting is Dream Daddies, but I don't know how to set that up. But that could be what I do, is just set up to do it in the future. So yeah, that's a thing. And then the fourth thing is I actually have some technical stuff that I could solder together. I've been working on this special device for the Wolf 359 store that would basically be a magic radio box that broadcasts original Doug Eiffel audio transmissions via FM radio in this vintage cigarette box. Awesome. So I think let's see. Set it up and talk to us. Okay, so we want setting up Dream Daddy and talking about stuff. So let's do it. Oh, we have a soldering request. All right, there's a lot to work with here. Let's start with a call-in and soldering, and then I'll end the stream by setting up Dream Daddy on my computer, and that'll be what we do. So it looks like Emmanuel Faltamo would like to do a call-in. So I don't know, Emmanuel, if you want to call in the number in the description and leave a quick voicemail, I can call you right back. Or if you're not in the U.S. and can't use the U.S. number, then DM me on Twitter a Skype address, and we'll get that going. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to pull up the information that I'm going to need to solder this thing. And then, because it's going to be a really quick solder. And then when we're done with that and we've done a call-in, I'm going to get ready to go about Dream Daddy. We're just going to get it all done. We're going to do it today on Self-Care Sunday. So a little bit more about this device before I look up the docs that I need and wait for our friend. Whoa, I should be using the other chat. Sorry, I have two chats on the screen, so I can like have one that's in the feed and then one that's not. Oh, boy. Okay, great. Emmanuel, you leave that voicemail. I'll be with you shortly. Very excited to talk to you. I always get excited to be like, ooh, what's it going to be? So, yeah, this is a crazy mess of electronics, and it won't be a fire hazard. I think it kind of is right now. But anyway, so I'll show you what this is. Come on. Oh, I don't want to break it. There we go. All right, so imagine, if you will. Why imagine? Seeing is believing. Bum 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 bum. So I just want to take this apart so you can properly see what we're doing here. Whoop. Okay. All right. So I had an idea 2 years ago, after season 1, that something magical would exist online called the official Wolf 359 store. Would it have t-shirts? Would it have stickers? Would it have fancy mugs? No, well, probably. But what I was really, really excited about was this here little box, this vintage cigarette case, sending space transmissions of one Officer Doug Communication Eiffel's voice over the FM radio. Really, so it started with this. I wanted to make this crazy-ass thing for Gabrielle's birthday, and then it just took me 2 fucking years to get it together, and now it's going in the store. And what it is I bought this vintage cigarette case, because Doug was super into cigarettes in that first season. And then he ran out and also couldn't smoke because space. And also smoking's bad. Don't do it. But it's bad for you. It's bad for the people around you. And I know it looks cool in the movies, but let's just like maybe leave it in the movies, like other special effects that don't exist in real life. Getting off the soapbox. So yeah. So basically I got this box. And then I got it all started when then I ordered this on-off switch, this vintage on-off switch. So yeah, I cut a hole in the top of the thing for the on-off switch so that this could like sit in there, and then that was all good. The problem is that the leather's soft up here. And so in order to make it actually work to flick this kind of intense switch on and off. Crud. Okay. I took this part of a old canceled, what is this called? The thing that you swipe with the thing. Oh yeah, debit card. So you put the debit card up here. I put a hole in that, and then yeah, it got me this little switch. I think it goes like this. Yes. Maybe. Yes. All right. So then this basically goes on here. Space vape. All right. So, 1 second. Rup. Okay, cool. So here you go. Now we have this more or less built out. And yeah, the idea is that when you turn it on, nothing will happen unless you're around an FM radio. And then you can tune your radio into a frequency, like a channel, like probably 88 point something. And then you'll hear recordings that are playing off of this MP3 player chip. This MP3 player chip is going to broadcast, and what I'm going to do today is attach this FM transmitter to the MP3 player, get the MP3 player with like some track on it, and then basically it's all powered by this battery, and you'll tune in to the space broadcast from Doug coming out of this little cigarette box. So that's what this is. And basically, I'm going to put this up on eBay when it's done. And if people seem to like it, I may or may not do a limited run for later this year if we can figure out how to do it in the store. Because right now we can only sell things through our provider. We use like a fulfillment company to make it really easy to make the shirts we make. That's why they're a little bit more expensive than we'd like. But it makes it doable to just make it happen. And so, yeah, so it's been hard to add custom things to the store like this or stickers. So I want to test it out on le eBay and see if it is a success with you. So anyway, what we need to do first is get the documentation for this product, this FM transmitter, and this guy. Ba-ba-boom. Alrighty, let's see. Emmanuel, I don't know what lines I'm going to do yet. I'm actually kind of curious if you guys have some ideas. I was thinking just like obscure logs that I might improvise with the aid of Gabrielle and Sarah. But if you guys have other ideas, you should let me know in the chat or the comments. Also, shout out to the people watching not live. And for folks who do watch this live, people not watching live have started to like feel their way into the comments. And if you felt inspired to like loop back later in the week and see if anybody's commented and say hi to them, I think they might really like it. Man, I was totally doing something. Okay, great. You know, the sound is actually a special tone that is a shortcut in the software. It's a sound-based software shortcut. No. All right, so here we are. What is this thing even called? Step number 1, don't drop this. It already came broken. They ended up giving it to me for free because it was totally busted. FM mic 509. 5.0.9. Whoops. Oh, that's so great. Alicia, that's awesome. Oh, whoa. What if I put on music right now? What if I put on music right now and I could do it because it was legal? Because it's on Free Music Archives, the best place to get music for your podcasts and videos and all the things that you want awesome music for and want to support independent artists by getting their names out there, by giving them credit in exchange for their Creative Commons licensed music. Not all of it's for, like, not good enough at the super fast, like, what's it called? Disclaimer voice. I want to get better at that. So I can just whip out fast disclaimer voices right away. It's going to take a lot of practice. Is that too loud? It's really hard to control the volume. Oh, I think it's going to be too loud. Ugh. I'm going to have to, like, I'm going to have to find an album, and I'm going to make it really easy because I'm just going to get a free nope, not free dot sessions. Blue dot sessions. And I always think when I say that people are thinking it's blue period sessions. Yeah. Blue dot sessions. Blue dot sessions. It's pretty great. Oh, can you guys hear Tiffy snoring? She's such a loud snorer. What a little snore bag of fuzz. Oh, she's so cute. Super loud. It's super loud. Body tonic. That sounds not safe for work. It's pretty groovy. It's something, but I don't think it's groovy. But it is a new album that I haven't heard of theirs because it was released in August because Blue Dot Sessions is the best and always updates almost every month. Naomi Cotton, that is colorful AF. I used to know how to swear in Russian. I actually went to Russia when I was 14 with my best friend at the time, one of my lifelong brothers, Tom. Okay, I think I need to bring this music in somehow. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how to live stream, like just a little bit under the hood. If you're interested in doing stuff like this, you'll be able to do it too. All right, so here's iTunes. Right now, I'm listening to music. I can hear music because it's playing into my headphones, but you guys can't hear it because it's not in the streaming software. This is going to get a little trippy, but this is my streaming software. Yeah, I know, it's weird. It goes on forever. It's got that infinity tunnel thing going on because it's a screen capture of a screen capture of a screen capture. But anyway, if you can ignore the trippy bit, the point is that I need to bring in an audio source over here. So I'm going to do that using this fancy little app called Loopback. All right, so here's Loopback. Loopback lets you make virtual audio devices. What is a virtual audio device? Well, it's basically, if you can imagine your computer as sort of this closed box where you can't really control sort of where sounds that come out of it, like it's just like either sound is happening or not. Loopback sort of adds a virtual, you know, those like recording studios with all the like ins and outs. It adds a virtual sort of input output box to your computer, so I can do something like this. iTunes. So this is a new audio source that I'm creating that will pull straight from iTunes. I don't want to mute the audio source because I want to hear it. And I'm going to let the channel mapping be automatic, but you can actually do lots of interesting stuff with this. For example, I have, like when I am Skyping with guests on Self-Care Sunday, I have to use this Skype plus Lumix output so that I can bring in my voice and my guest voice into the stream for you guys. But this one's going to be real easy. iTunes, iTunes, iTunes. And the only problem I may run into here, oh great, sometimes Wirecast doesn't update sources, but it just found it. So now you guys should be able to hear this in a moment. I'll just stop playing. Let's go to the library. Let's go to Blue Dot Sessions. I'm excited to get Dream Daddy going up later, because I think you guys have asked for that a lot. Whoa, Marietta. Oh man, big hug to you. I kind of have to monitor a blood transfusion. Wow, that's incredible that that's what you're up to. Really love that you came to say hi and go knock 'em alive, literally. So great. Awesome. All right. Blue Dot Sessions. Where are you in my life? Ugh. It's so difficult with iTunes these days because it's like there's so many different parts to it. It's not really clear what's my music, what's the cloud's music. I'm not playing the D-Dads yet, Rhinoceros Rex. I'm going to set them up. But first, I want to get this thing going. All right. I think that might be what the doctor ordered. All right. And print. So you guys should now be able to hear both my voice and the music. Let me know if it could be louder, if you'd like it to be louder. It is definitely loud enough for me right now. I can imagine it might be a little bit too quiet, but I'd rather it be too quiet than too loud for y'all. There's a nice little vibe going. All right, I just made it a little bit louder, but maybe a little too loud. I'm going to dial it back a little bit. Dial it back. Aw, yeah. Ba-boom. Well, this music has been brought to you by Blue Dot Sessions. Blue Dot Sessions. Awesome music on Free Music Archive, made easy. So cool. Oh, man. All right, if it's too loud, you let me know and I'll lower it. But yeah, I am very happy right now. All right. In the meantime, let's see if we can find this little doodad. Documentation. I think I can just go into my Amazon history. Oh, that is very, very, very nice to have some music while we do this. It's really interesting for me. Ooh, that's stuff I need to buy this week. It's really interesting for me to have a crowded room that is physically so empty and so much activity going on, but have it be so quiet. This is podcasting. Oh. Wouldn't it be cool if I could do a daily stream that became a podcast, like, later in the week? I don't know. I'm just, like, thinking out loud. Like, there's got to be a workflow that's an interesting thing to do every day, that's, like, sustainable for me to do, that creates raw material for something at a, like, a slower cadence that's, like, of a higher quality. Anyway, I am going to sign in outside of the visible window. I love you guys, but I'm going to take care to hide my password because I'm learning about this whole thing. Oh, boy. Alrighty. you want attention, Tiffy? Oh, do you want attention? Ooh, what a little fluff. What a little fluff! Alright, I am going to find you, FM transmitter chip, if it's the 40th thing that I do today. There we go. Mwahaha. Alright. So what's the deal here? Connect with an FM antenna, connect with power. So that's where the power goes. Power goes there. And microphone goes there. Well, that's very useful. Alrighty, folks. I think we have our answer. And now we can pull up the other product, which is the 16 megabit Adafruit. I believe it's this little guy. Mini soundboard. There we go. And scrolling. Data sheets and schematics. This sure looks like what we're looking for. So that's the disk image. Pin outs, is that what I want? Show me your secrets, tiny chip. I have the tinier one. This is not the chip that I'm using. Let's search for sound board. Maybe. Perhaps. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. Alright, so this is the chip that I have, and I need to look at where the sound is supposed to come out of so that I can connect it to the radio transmitter. There's something so radio about the word radio. Zen Koans by Doug Eiffel. Not good Zen Koans. Ferrelio? What is this doing? Alright. Soundboard has a lot of pins, but we can group them into chunks. Power pins. Okay, so that's where the power pins go. They're powerful pins. Power. Okie dokie. So, VIN is the primary battery. Oh, interesting. We could actually have used this to power the battery. Anyway, that's unnecessary. PB. We use it for testing. Just leave it disconnected for use. Okay. So, we just need the VIN and the ground. Haha. Alright, UART. Yeah, we don't need to control it because it controls itself. Oh, fascinating. Not stored, so you have to reset that. Alright, so we'd like to make this work in the default volume setting because we're not going to have volume control. Alright, left and right and left. You don't want to use a headphone jack. Connect your amplifier to right, left, and ground. These are the level outputs for headphones of about 30 ohms, not for big speakers. They are output DC blocking capacitors, so you can safely connect directly to any kind of amplifier. Trigger pins. They're 11. Each pin has a pull-up resistor. Interesting. So I'm going to want to figure out how to get that to loop, but first it's just this and the power. Interesting. All right, so I do suspect that it's going to be right negative, left positive. But I might be wrong, and there's no way to tell because I don't have an FM radio in my house to test this thing. So I am going to wire it up and basically see if it works at a coffee shop or a friend's car. That's the idea. So let me untangle my headphones. By the way, if you guys decide that this is more awesome than having guests on, I can have less guests. It certainly would be less work. I am not super attached to what this is. Okay, let's switch it up. Switching it up. Biddaloo, 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 biddaloo. All right, we're big now. Oh, I didn't see you there. Come right this way. Join me over here at my electronics table. Make it to my electronics table. I don't have the second camera set up, so it's going to be a little cramped. Let's do this thing. So first, let's unplug the power from these two things. This guy is my helping hands. Oh, wow. I realize I left the mic behind. What a faux pas. Party foul. But we do want to keep this a safe distance away from the soldering iron, which I'm about to fire up. So yes, let's get this party started. You know, I suspect that it's actually going to be left and right shorted together. Maybe not. Basically, I'm like not sure. I think it's going to want the ground on the negative and not left right like that. Like I think this is a mono sucker. It's a mono sucker. Alright, so what I would like to do is cut two cables to fit. Alright. So I'm going to get 4 of these power cables going for these guys to get some power, and then I'm going to get the speaker wires cut. And I only need 2 of those, so yeah. Handy dandy. wire cutters. Hiya. Why don't we start with that speaker wire? 22 gauge. So on this thing there's a AWG solid, AWG stranded. This is stranded wire. Solid wire bends and stays in the position. Stranded wire is a little bit more flexible. I find it's a little bit easier to strip and cut solid core. We want something that's going to have a little bit more give for this project. A little bit more leeway, if you will. How are you guys? Tiffy having a quick check to see what's going on. That's cute. I love me some Tiff. How you doing over there, girl? She's like... And I'm actually gonna make this in a way that I can test which one it is, now that I think about it, so that I don't have to go find a radio, try it, have it not work, and then not be able to test it again until it's done. What memes will I see? I see there's chat about memes. Alrighty. So that is how I would like that to be. And then let's get another black wire going. That's fine. That's just fine, just fine. Can you imagine if it was like still acceptable to talk the way that like old Hollywood stars, I feel like, talked? Just that accent, that like totally artificial fake European thing. Ah, it's just fine. You know, it's really great to be in pictures these days. All right, then. That ought to do it, folks. You know, instead of focusing on getting the two boards attached, what we'll do is start with getting just one of these fixed up with the cables it needs, and then the other. Starting with this little number from Adafruit. Beautiful, beautiful, yes. this bad boy goes in the fin line. Woof. Woof. And this little piggy goes to the ground. Alright, I'm just going to get a little bit of putty to hold everything in place. I mean, I guess I could try to use these little Doc Ock arms, but I have varying degrees of luck with that. I'm just going to get the putty. It's so much easier. This is Loctite mounting putty, and it is great for prototyping. When you want things to stay where you put them until you can make them permanent. That goes in there. That goes in there. Take a little bit of putty. Probably more than we need. Then come down here. Guy there. Drop this green guy. Oops. Yellow, green. Where's the black one? Alrighty. Get a little bit of this goop. Alrighty, so now we can take this out and flip it right over. And for starters, it's really obvious which ones are too high. Oops. Which ones aren't in enough at all. needs a little solder. Gonna do a little tip tinning. You take your hot soldering iron, put it in this tinner, gets it all shiny, and then you wipe away the Terminator 2. How's that for an euphemism, Gabrielle? He's not watching, he's feverishly writing. We're all writing our last full episodes of Wolf. Thanks to our amazing patrons for Wolf 359. If you don't listen to it, it is a sci-fi audio drama podcast that I highly recommend you check out, wolf359.fm. We're officially, thanks to our patrons hitting our stretch goal, making another epic special extra-length episode and mini episodes between every full-length episode. Very exciting times for Wolf. Oof. There we go. More or less, not the prettiest job, but also not the ugliest job. Wow. Welcome to my neighborhood, everybody. Where the cars drive real loud with even louder music. I think that album ended a while ago, probably. I'm in the zone right now, guys. Can't mess around when you got hot tools in hand. Uh-oh. I think that got it done. Again, not the prettiest job, but should work. When I first got it started soldering, I was too afraid to burn the board to solder properly. The trick is letting the entire part that you're trying to join with solder hot enough that the solder spreads evenly down into the wire in the copper, little copper sort of hole thing. Oh boy. this guy's running away. Come on. It's always hard to get this tack off. Let's do this one with these little alligator clips, shall we? It's my Doc Ock station. I'm about to get another album on because I'd like to listen to some music while we do this. But I am going to do this last solder joint right here. Excuse me. All right. This guy is done. Just got to get that gunk off and then move on to the next board. But first, let's get some music going, shall we? See who's in the chat. Check in with you guys, because that is going to a place. Time stops when you're holding a soldering iron. All right. Whew. Is it getting hotter in here? It's just me. Whew. All right. Well, let's get some more of that Blue Dot Sessions going on. Nizzy Holloway. I'm sorry you'll have to go. We'll miss you. And it's great that you were here. Next up is going to be the last album we listened to was not this one, but the next one is going to be this one. Aeronaut. I realize you can't see the screen. It's only 75 degrees, but I think the soldering sweats are real. Soldering sweats are real. Something just happened. Come back, everything on my screen. All right, there we go. Bye-bye, Eula Chavez. So great to see you here. Alright, I think that that's on. If you guys would like it louder, just let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to put these last things on. Oh, humble Chris. That is so kind. It's so great to have you here. I'm glad you got some time away from work to check this out. Yeah, so I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to call Emmanuel, see what's going on there, and set up Dream Daddy while we chat, and then say goodbye. So this might go till 5, now that I think about it, realistically. I'm so not good at realistic. Idealistic comes a lot more naturally. Oh, come on. Yeah. This little brush. Just a toothbrush. Try to get rid of some of that gunk. It's not ineffective. It's just not very effective. My mom always said that Pokemon was a missed opportunity to learn us kids the periodic tables, and I have to say, I would have loved if Pokemon taught me something more than fictional pairings of elements and their effectiveness against each other. I doubt it would have been nearly as fun, but if somebody could have made it even half as fun, it would have been great. It was already good the way it is. Learning something other than fictional pocket monsters would be sweet. Alright, that actually kind of did the trick, more or less. Fits. Cool. Power we can hook up later. And in the meantime, we can make this happen. Now that I think about it, I should probably be working with a breadboard with this thing, just to see, for prototyping's sake, what needs to connect to what, but I think I've always been more of a cut twice, measure once person, which is the opposite of what they tell you to do. Is that music too loud? Oh, mods to the rescue. You guys are the best. Just remember that hurt people hurt people. In my experience, anyway. Alright, this may not happen right now. I'm not sure this is the best way to do this. I think this may need a more careful touch. I don't want to ruin it. So I think I'm going to switch gears. Doing it. We're switching gears, everybody. This music is Blue Dot Sessions. The album is called Aeronaut. Double Tiffy. Oh, we can't hear Zach? What? What do you mean you can't hear me? All right. So, yeah. Great. Tiffy. All right, so I'm jumping on that phone business. Voice, Google Voice. I was too far from the mic. I got it. Oh, fighting back a sneeze. Oh, Tiffy, you're so cute. All right, folks, this might be loud, so,
Hey, I don't know exactly what I should be saying for this voicemail, but yeah, this is, Emmanuel. Leaving that voicemail right now. You just pointed me out a little bit earlier.
Awesome. All right.
Call back when you can.
I'm calling right now, Emmanuel.
Good questions to ask.
You definitely want to mute your
Bye.
speakers or put on headphones. But I would definitely pause the live stream. But yeah, ring ring. Tiffy is the best cat. Cutie.
Mute your speakers or put on headphones. But I would definitely pause the live stream.
Hey.
But yeah.
Hey.
How are ya?
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah. You're. 1 second. I'm gonna lower your volume a little bit. Hang tight. I just need to go.
Hello?
Yeah. I. Can you not hear me? Oh. I see what happened. 1 sec. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Oh, I can hear you now. I can hear you
great.
now.
Hang tight. You're a little bit loud for the feed. Let me just lower your volume.
Oh, okay.
And that should be good. How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. So great to connect. So talk to me. What's going on? How can I help you? First of all, can you share for a sec who you are, where you are, maybe some like a brief bio?
Oh yeah, sure. My name's Emmanuel. I'm about 16 years old, going on 17. I live in this part of Maryland where it's like kind of close to Pennsylvania, kind of close to Delaware. It's just kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nowhere is in the middle of nowhere.
Well, no, not Delaware. Oh, it's like the specific location of my school is like
Right,
real
right.
foresty. I'm at a boarding school right now.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it's pretty nice. It's actually my second year there, and so we just got off of a really cool thing we do. Like the first week of school is not actually like school stuff. It's like a lot of cool activities, getting to know everybody, getting back into the groove of things. And on the last day, we went to this cool like water park and had like a cool time.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, tomorrow the actual kind of school stuff happens and such, which is fine. But yeah, I like to write occasionally. I like to draw sometimes. I don't know if I think I'm a better writer than a drawer, but I'm not sure about either.
I can relate with that.
Yeah, definitely. Because you do what you do, but you're too afraid to show anyone. But you don't get that you're not sure how good you are because you're not showing anybody. But yeah, I am a second-generation Ethiopian. My parents were born in Ethiopia and then came to this country and stuff like that. But yeah, that's some fun facts about me.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I guess what would you like to talk about?
I don't know. This is sort of like a first time listening, first time calling sort of situation.
That's awesome. I think that you're officially the first person to say that on this show, and I'm so glad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because I started listening to, I think my first introduction to like all this stuff was, Wolf 359.
Sure.
And like that, I remember really liking it because it was like it was a kind of epitome of a lot of things I like. I wrote old like radio dramas. Like I used to listen to on NPR News, I think it was on Saturday nights or Friday nights, they would play old radio shows and such like that. And like Wolf 359 always sort of reminded me of those, like listening to those just like while sitting in the car driving with my dad, not me. But and like I love sci-fi stuff and such like that, so it was a big kind of sort of thing. I started listening to it about a month or two ago, actually during the summer, because yeah, it was a good thing that kind of kept me entertained while I was at like this film camp, which was also very cool.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I guess I don't know. The first thing that's kind of coming to mind is like stuff about like creative content and such, like what to do when, like how to get yourself to, like what I was saying with earlier, like struggling to show people my stuff, like how like building up confidence about things like that. I don't know. If you have any tips or stuff about that.
Can you say that again? Building up confidence?
Yeah, like getting confident enough to like sort of show your stuff to people.
Great question.
What are tips that you do to get confident? Yeah.
Right. So, have you heard the expression "fake it till you make it"?
Yes, I've heard that a couple times.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's like it's so cliche to hear and to say, and I guess my problem with it is, I don't know, I feel so awkward when I like know I'm faking something, and there is something to it. Like there is something to like the more you sort of like the more you stretch that muscle. So here's what I would say. Rather than sort of fake it till you make it, or like another, let's say, face of the same diamond of advice, is I can tell you about a friend of mine, Kennedy O'Dede. Ken is the first person. So he went to college with me. We were in dance class. We were buddies. We like got to partner in like the contact dance exercises. We're like rolling around the floor on each other. But he's an extraordinary dude from Kibera, Kenya. He's the first person from his village to go to a 4-year accredited college and started this incredible school for girls, called the Shining Hope for Communities, Shofco. And he told me this story because when he first came over here, his English was like not where he wanted it to be, and he was really embarrassed by it. And he did this thing that like really stuck with me. Just when I think about like how to stretch a muscle about like being public, where basically rather than ask a real question, he just wanted to break through asking questions in the English that he had. So he would just raise his hand once a class, whatever class he was in, and force himself to raise his hand and ask one question, even if it was, can you say that again? And just like really, like maybe he wanted to ask something way more complex or way more opinionated, or, you know, maybe he wanted to like, debate, but he wasn't comfortable doing that. He was comfortable going, where's the bathroom? Or like, something like that. Something like really like sort of chunking it down to, I think the analogy, and apologize in advance for mixing metaphors because yeah, if it's a sin, I'm guilty. But yeah, basically,
Right. Yeah.
I imagine, and also sports metaphors that sports I don't play. So it's like if you are playing football, say, or even soccer, and it's like you can't necessarily kick it all the way down the field, but if you can kick it up the field, like even just like a tiny bit, even if it's just a love tap. I think the thing to measure is, are you taking ground over yesterday? So like, is there somebody in your circle that you do share your work with, or do you not share with anybody?
There's some people like a few people, like very close friends. Yeah.
Cool. Is there anybody?
Like, my sisters.
Oh, that's awesome. And do you share with them on a regular basis, like every week?
Maybe somewhere around every week to every other week, depending on what I've done that day. Like, yeah.
And would it help you to do like? I'm just wondering, like, would it be more useful for you to practice sharing with those people more regularly? Or would it be more useful for you to add in some people that are more of a stretch?
I think probably regularly at this point in time, yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I would...
Like doing more.
If I were you, I would invite somebody that you love sharing with, that will give you the kind of feedback you want, so that you can hone in on whether you think it's quality or not. Because one of my favorite quotes is Ira Glass about creativity and sort of this world of confidence in creativity. He talks about how our taste is what gets us into the game of creating. And it's the same thing that tells us our work is terrible when we're first starting out, because it's our taste that got us into the game, and our taste is killer. Because like the things that we love that got us to want to create are really good, and we know they're really good because we've seen it, and we've listened to it, we've engaged with it, and that it's that spark, that that sort of level of our taste that draws us to try to make it. And then it's like a potato, and it's like, oh no, it's not gold yet. And the job is to sort of stick it out and bring that persistence and grit to just, run down the field 100 times and just, create a bunch of things and put yourself on that deadline. So if there is somebody that, like one of your sisters, that gives you that great feedback, I would recommend inviting them into a conspiracy, because you want to make sure that they're like on board with giving you feedback and looking at your stuff every week. And I think it's one thing to like ask for a favor and people will do it. It's another thing to like get somebody on your team, if that makes sense. And I suspect they already are. Because it sounds like you guys have a cool relationship. Just, I don't know. I know brothers and sisters that don't share artwork, so I begged my parents for a brother or sister, and they made a call that I do not judge at all to just have me. But I definitely have found brothers and sisters in life. So anyway, I love sibling relationships. So that's awesome. Is that useful? Is that helpful?
That's really, yeah, that's a really good message. Yeah, I definitely think I could have, I think I've learned from hearing that, yeah.
Awesome. Is there something that you're going to try experimenting with this week or this month out of this conversation?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. This is a really good idea, yeah.
Cool. I'm curious, what do you see trying this week, or experimenting with this, sort of over the next couple weeks?
I think there's this one, I guess, you kind of toying around with recently.
Cool.
And so, I guess probably putting some pen to paper stuff and writing the first draft of something and sending that to my sister, and then the next drafts afterwards.
That's amazing. For writing or for drawing?
Because I guess for writing, I think of the things that I want to do, it's mostly writing. Like that's where I see what I want to see myself doing in the future. So
awesome. Well, it sounds like
you know what I mean.
Yeah. That sounds like a great first step, and I'd love to, hear how it goes. Like, if you want to update us, feel free to call in and like leave a little update, or a long update, either way. And
I definitely will.
Awesome.
Next Sunday.
Hell yeah! And if you want to jump back on the phone, you just let me know.
I will.
Super cool. Before we say goodbye, I don't want to step over the fact that, and this is just my opinion, I want to acknowledge you for your perceived breakthrough in the whole having courage, confidence thing by calling in and being on the stream.
What?
Well, you just want to map, and I don't know if this is true, but I have a hypothesis that there are, I don't know how many people are live right now, but if there's 20 people here right now, or 30 people, or 40 people, or 50 people, or whatever, it looks like there's been 43 people today, there's at least one other person, and I think there's probably more than that, but there's at least one other person who's sitting here being like, I deal with that same thing, and I would never call in to talk about it. And by you asking, it made something available to them. And they're sitting there going like, holy crap, like this dude's got some courage. Where do I get that?
Honestly, it's kind of half of that. I just said I would like to call in, and then you said something on the thing. I was like, oh, I guess I got to do it now.
That's super cool. I have been there, and it's a privilege to get to pass that on. Pay that forward.
I thank you.
Thank you. Awesome to talk to you. Anything else you want to chat about?
I mean, I was gonna say something, and I'm not sure if it's gonna like spring into a whole nother thing, and I don't want to take out any time. But if anyone in the chat wants to call in as well,
it's totally cool. This is the last call in I'm going to do for this week. So whatever you want to talk about is all good by me.
Okay. So this is, I guess, a little bit more of a kind of a complex one that also kind of came into mind, which was when also coming into attention of creating things and doing that stuff as a potential career. Because when it comes to like family and like family support and stuff, that is like my sisters and such like that. Well, specifically one of my sisters is you know, kind of happy about it, but like the kind of ideas of what particularly my dad wants me to be doing and such like that, which now that I'm saying it out loud sounds like sounds like something from like a play, like, you know, I want to do this, but my dad is all like, oh, but it's like a constant thing that it's something that is, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say this is always on my mind, like thinking about my dad's opinion on my stuff, which is, I mean, maybe it's a bit over-obsessing about it, but
you're not alone.
It's stuff where...
Really not alone. Seriously. My dad is one of my best friends, one of my superheroes, and his opinion is something that drove a big portion of my life, especially while I was in college. So I feel you. He was the first person in his family to go to college, and it was a really big deal to him that I do that. And there was a point in college where I was really feeling like I was wasting my time, wasting their money, and the best thing I could do would be to leave
I
and
feel that all the
drive.
time here. Yeah. It's a weird situation where like I get angry, but like I have a weird situation, like relationship with my dad right now, where it's a situation where like I admire a lot of the things he's done, and he's gone through a lot of crap to put me where I am right now. You know, I'm not the first person in his family, but I would certainly be like one of the first few to be going to, you know, college and such like that. And you know, it's a situation where everyone in my family is going into like the medical field and stuff like that. My dad's a nurse anesthetist. My mom's a nurse. My sister's going to public health. Other sisters going to occupational therapy. And it's like so out of my, like, there's been a lot of times where I try to like imagine myself just for the heck of it to like in any sort of situation or see any sort of pathway for it. And it's like so out of the realm of my possibility for me to be doing anything related to like that.
Right.
And
you know they'd love it if you were like a doctor or something.
And it's the thing that's a bit scary about it is like, I'm not going to say my dad doesn't support me, but like, or doesn't support things that I'm trying to do to be further above. But you know, when I was talking about that film camp earlier, like it was a real sort of struggle to like even get him to be on board with being able to do stuff like that, and stuff like, and he always, you know, there's like words that he uses in conversations about it, like, oh yeah, it's a lot of options and stuff like that. Like, oh, he's expanding, he's looking at lots of different options. But you know, like I almost all the time, if the conversation like strays nearby stuff about creative, like doing creative work, like it's not even specifically writing anymore. It's like if the conversation falls to doing stuff like that, like he always does the same quote every single time, where it's stuff like, the economy will never, like there'll never be too many doctors and so on, blah blah blah, and stuff like that.
So,
and I'm not trying to make my dad like a villain here. Never.
Oh my God, I so hear the thing.
Person.
I so hear it. It reminds me a lot of a really good friend of mine, in a different circumstance, but a similar. So I'll get into that story in a
situation.
Yeah, but I just want to like reflect back what I'm hearing, just so because like maybe I don't have it quite right, but it sounds to me like, first of all, you really love your dad, and your dad has some opinions that are hard to hear as you're 16 going on 17, looking at building your future. And like there's some doors he'd prefer you not go down, and some others that he'd wish you would, and that's always hard. And it sounds like he really loves you, and he has a view of the world that some things are possible and some things aren't, and some things are smart and some things are right and some things are wrong and some things are dumb, and like those opinions are at odds with your view. And all the while there's a lot of love present.
Yeah. That's very spot on. Yeah.
Awesome. I feel you. And I have my own version of this. This really reminds... So my friend Matthew Shirka, who was, I believe, about 15, 16, when he came out to his dad as gay. And his dad's reaction was to put him into reparative therapy, to conversion therapy, which I believe is a dangerous therapy that, that's really unhealthy and is, the suicide rates and mental illness sort of rates like skyrocket. And years later, he actually made amends with his father and his therapist, and he's gotten his therapist involved in some work to ban the therapy. It's this incredible story. It's all in the Huffington Post. I might put the link in the description, but the reason I bring that up is because talking to him about it, it's amazing to hear how he sees what his dad was dealing with back then. It was less that his dad, and like, I think it's inarguable that is like homophobic behavior, but over the years what he's seen is that really his dad was just afraid for him, and that what he perceived as hate and pressure and anger was actually fear and love, expressed the only way he knew how with the tools that he had, and like the mind that he had and the experience that he had and the life that he had. And that doesn't make it like good news, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that those 5 years that he spent in that therapy were like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. But it doesn't mean that it was a joyride. I'm just gonna lower the volume of the music because it's a little loud right now. But yeah, basically, I share that story to just get a cut at like, what I hear is your dad really cares about you and is like concerned for your future, and just is living in the virtual reality that he's living in, the way that we all live in our own sort of personal matrix. And there are a couple things that I hear that, you know, I would never like recommend like arguing, because it's just one of those things where it's like, if there's anything that you might consider saying to your dad is like, you know, the way that, you know, Matthew goes to his dad and goes like, Dad, like whenever his dad goes off on him on like how hard it's going to be for him to live as an out gay man, and why can't you just like have your fun in private and like, you know, live a quote unquote normal life.
You can always do it as a hobby.
Right. And all he does, he looks his dad in the eye, and he's just, at this point, he gets moved to tears, and he's just like, Dad, I really hear your commitment to me having a great life. And I just like want you to know that I have what I need to go do that. And it doesn't have to look the way that you think it has to look for it to be great. And I've got this, and I love you, and I thank you for my life, and I'm going to go live it. And like, and then they hug, and like, of course it comes back, you know, it's like one of those things where he like, there was a period where he's like, oh, like, it's frustrating that it keeps coming back up. But I think even now it's sort of been, that's transformed into something that's fun and sort of cute about their dynamic, is just like, his dad's worried about him. And I think that that's sort of universal among dads. Wow, this is so fitting that I'm going to set up Dream Dad, or Dream Dads, or Daddies, or whatever. Wow, I didn't know this was going to be so dad-centric. It's great. But yeah, I guess like, it sounds like one thing. So with my dad, I got a lot when I graduated from college, a lot of coaching from him. He's a business coach. And you know, one thing that he would say to me is, I'm not your patron of the arts. I kind of am, because like at the time he was, and I'm talking as him, I was living in his apartment, and him in my mom's apartment, and so yeah, a big part of it was, you know, they were supporting me and making my life as an artist possible. And it wasn't until I got a quote-unquote real job at a startup making the videos that I had enough money to get a lease in a apartment with a roommate that I'd be happy with the amount of space that I thought I'd need. And it's been a real trip not being in that job and having my expenses stay the same and my income get cut. And when I get freelance work, I get paid more than I was at that startup, so I can work less, but the fight for getting more work and the, you know, the like that the sales involved, like there is a lot of activity that it takes to make a living as a freelancer, and that is sort of the life of an artist. And it's not as clear the demand as like being an Uber driver, you know, where it's like everybody's going to need rides. You just need a car and just log in and there are people demanding. Whereas with art, you're kind of making up the demand for it by building an audience and cultivating that. You can't just like log in, you know, more. Now you can kind of log into YouTube, but it's a different thing. There's not just like people hailing YouTubers to entertain them. You got to stick out from the noise in a way you can jump on that Uber platform and start making money. But the thing that my dad told me that stuck with me, so, and like that was a point of contention, is he's like, you need to go make money. I'm like, I just want to make my art. And like, I think I heard what he was saying as you can't be an artist, but really what he was saying is like, I need to figure out how to make it into a living, which really is something I'm figuring out now. And I don't have it figured out. You know, the Patreon for Wolf is doing great, but it's certainly not enough for us to be profiting. We're just not losing money. Yeah, exactly. So it's like a full-time job for a lot of us that doesn't even pay us minimum wage for a part-time job. And it's fine because we love it and we signed up to build that resume. And so, yeah, so I think the thing that my dad told me that I'm now using as sort of keys to the kingdom of figuring this out is this expression, design parameters. It's a design problem where it's not don't be an artist, it's build a life that works. And, you know, one thing that's been really useful to me making a life as a content creator, as an artist, is having marketable skills and having a network that is interested in engaging me to do that. And I do not have the best one. I don't have the best skills. I don't have the best network. And I'm still very much in the trenches, so to speak, of figuring it out. But, you know, if you especially, you know, have something like coding in your back pocket, that's a way that you can disproportionately buy your time so that you can do the thing that you want to do. But you can also build like, you know, there's also a world where, like, you know, what you're doing is focused on building as big an audience as you can so you can fund yourself through new models like Patreon or, you know, a custom sort of recurring revenue thing. So I guess I'm less interested in giving you a specific answer more than giving you a way of thinking or a mindset around it that frees you up when you talk to your dad, to leave him with more oxygen in the room, that there's something possible that maybe he just hasn't seen. And, like, you know, sharing articles with him about automation and how the medical field may be largely replaced by smart robots in the next 50 years might change some things. And that the secret to being employed in the robot future is being the most creative person in the room, not the most memorized in one particular field.
Wow.
I'm so curious what you just got or what you're hearing in this, because I've just been talking for a while and I want to shut up and just listen to what are you taking away from this conversation?
No, I'm definitely taking away, and this seems very, very, like, I guess I never really just makes it sound like I'm sort of, I don't know, not considerate or but like I never really thought to do the giving enough space to breathe sort of thing. And to like sort of pace it a bit and introduce that idea to my dad.
That's really cool. What does that what does that make available to you if you could do that?
It definitely does bring up a lot of ideas of sort of I like and I did hear a couple of stuff about this in the actual like the camp I was at, where it's you want to make yourself have a lot of skills, have a wide skill set, not necessarily be skilled on everything, but to be able to make yourself useful in that way.
Right, and to be able to learn quickly, yeah.
Be able to learn quickly, yeah. Yeah, that's actually, hearing that a second time that reminds me of a couple of those talks and stuff like that. Because they were talking about like nobody wants just a writer anymore. They want somebody who can write and produce and edit and such like that. They're not going to just have a really great writer. They'd love to have stuff like that. And your stuff about and it kind of coincides with a little bit of the stuff you were saying earlier about like building an audience and stuff like that with the whole confidence thing. A little bit. Yeah. Because it definitely would take confidence to build an audience to put yourself out there for people to like.
And here's the thing that's crazy. The thing that I'm just starting to get juice out of, that's just like been a miracle this last year. There's a point at which it flips and the audience starts feeding you energy. Like this call is like, I'm going to be flying on this call for the rest of the month, And like, like seriously, that happens at a certain point. And there's not to say there's not like weird stuff that happens, like, in terms of like people who aren't thrilled with your work and trolls, and like there will be haters too. And it's easier to remember the hate, but there's nothing quite as energizing as connecting with somebody who's connecting with why you got in the game in the first place. So cool, man. At the end of the day, whatever you want to do with, like, when it comes to you and your life, you win. You know what I mean? Like nobody can really live your life, and there are certainly privileges that are available to some and not others at the start of the game. And I think that there's a tremendous amount of say we get in this life for what we want to create. And so, I think, knowing that, I think you might have some more space to just like be with whatever any family member wants to huff and puff and blow your future their way. It's like you can start to listen for, is there anything useful in here? Or are they coming from a place that they don't feel acknowledged? Because, I know that like my mom's nagging actually wasn't nagging except through my listening. Like it was only through the filter of me hearing her voice that I labeled it nagging. Really, it was just love that was shaped in complaints. You don't do this enough. You should do that more. You should do this. But all it was is she loves me. And when I got that, it changed my relationship with her. And she still says the same stuff. And I should still probably floss more often. And stretch and stuff. But there's love there in a way that, previously it was just, my mom.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying, definitely don't want to be the sort of typical sort of angsty teenager sort of situation.
It's part of being human, and when I say that that's transformed, what I mean to say is that it still comes up, and I'm like, oh, she's such a... And it's like, wait, no, that's a story I made up. And then I got that once, and then, I get it again. And it's like a flip book where it's like, You just get enough consistent pages of, I do floss, Thea Sinclair, I see you in the chat. I do floss, I just could do it more often as per dentist recommendation. I should buy some more floss. Anyway, this is the problem with being out about everything in the internet is everybody's right about me. Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, it's been really fun. Like, and here's the thing, like, talking to you about this reminds me the stuff that I know and forget. And like, that's, I think, the thing that's beautiful about making it about being of service to others is like, it ends up serving you, but it keeps you in action. When I try to serve myself, I just go down a dark rabbit hole of why even bother. So yeah, Toucan Sam had something right, and follow your nose.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
This
Great
is,
to talk to you.
I've definitely, lots of stuff I'm learning today.
Likewise. All right.
What?
I bet. Oh, sorry, I see Will Higgins in the chat. This just in, Zach Valenti doesn't floss enough. Well, you know what? I bet most of you don't either. I'm projecting. I'm embarrassed. It's okay.
Not me. I floss every day. I got a bunch of handheld flossers.
Oh, man. I'm like every other day. I have a good
Every
electric
other day?
toothbrush. Yeah, I know. I used to do it every day, but I need to get more floss and pack it with me, because if I don't have it with me, I just forget. I used to do it twice a day. Anyway, that doesn't matter, because it only matters if you're doing it right
too
now.
much.
Oh, you think it's too... Okay. Huh. Interesting.
I don't know. I'm not sure what the dentists say.
Me neither. Oh, water pick.
Uh-uh.
That's great. All right. Well, I'm going to go buy some
Water
floss.
pick. Whoa.
Right at... I think...
Yeah, I gotta have dinner.
Nice. I'm going to say goodbye. It's so great talking to you. And yeah.
It was wonderful talking to you, too.
Be well, man.
Yeah.
Talk soon.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
I'll be here next Sunday.
Great. I'll see you next Sunday. That was cool. All right. It got a lot later than I intended. About 20 minutes later. And I'm sort of struggling between getting Dream Daddy set up and doing the other things that I need to do. I'm going to pause it here. And setting up Dream Daddy is going to happen another time. That was so worth it. Dream Daddies is going to be a thing that I set up maybe later today, probably next weekend. I think that is a great thing to do while I'm streaming from DragonCon sometime Sunday night. Excuse me. Oh, God. Alrighty. This was dope. You guys are awesome. Oh, man. What a phone call. Ugh, I'm so fired up. Emmanuel, you're great. That was cool. Alrighty. I'm going to go buy some floss and some other groceries and things. Glad to be adorkable, Thea Sinclair. I just feel like there are too many things. There's like flossing, there's meditating, there's like finance, like bookkeeping. There's like so many things. Oh man, my dad's Sona. Oh, we're gonna have to crowdsource that mother, or father rather. All right, guys. As always, super fun streaming with you. Major shout out to my patrons. You guys are my saints, my patron saints. Patreon.com/Zach Valenti. Check it out for rewards and stretch goals. Stay tuned for some big news this coming week. If you or anybody you know wants to make a podcast, please send them to pod.how and ask them to press the applause button. It used to be a heart, now it's an applause. I don't know. Basically, press the only button there is to press to show that you like it, and then share it with other people, because I want that sucker to go viral so that we can fill the airwaves with conversations that matter, conversations that make a difference. Yeah, you can leave a message on my number whenever it is in the chat. And please feel free to call in with anything about family stuff, about sort of self-care stuff, about creative stuff and creating these things. I love talking about stuff like this. Obviously not a mental health care professional, but a human with a family and creative stuff and all this stuff. Anyway, for more stuff about stuff in the stuff, I just feel like I'm saying stuff a lot. All right, that is all, yo. Peace.